In this episode of the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast, Missionary Mike and Tyler Revelis go over the Thanksgiving games, who to start and who to sit. Gobble, gobble.
Okay, 300 years ago, a Native American went to a nice Caucasian man, and they had dinner. All right? And it was called Thanksgiving.
Hey, I'm Native American.
Yeah, I know, and I'm white.
You're Caucasian.
And guess what? We had dinner 300 years ago, our ancestors. And that's what we're celebrating in this episode. We're talking about Thanksgiving games, Turkey Day games. We're talking about starts and sits for Thursday, November, 25th. November 25th, 2021. We have some great NFL games to watch, and we want to give you the best starts and sits available for all those games. We got the Bears playing the Lions in the morning. God, I mean, you could skip that one. Sleep in. 9:30 a.m. Sleep in, because 9:30 a.m. on Thursday, that's going to be a boring. That's going to be a boring one. Then we got Raiders and Cowboys. Cowboys always playing on Thanksgiving. Then we got the Bills and Saints at night. The Raiders-Cowboys game should be good. And then we got the Bills-Saints. That's good. That's going to be a great game too. But there's going to be a lot of questions, starts and sits for all these games, all these teams. We're here to help you figure that out in this episode. But before we start, is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, make sure you sign up to Underdog Fantasy. Promo code, use promo code AVG for $100 match on your first deposit.
Sorry, are you just reading the scroll wheel?
I am.
Yes. So if you download the Underdog Fantasy app right now, you can get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. If you use promo code AVG, that's exclusively to the promo code AVG, you get that match of up to $100 on your first deposit. Underdog Fantasy has a lot of good stuff. They have this thing called Rivals. They just have like player prop bets that you can do as well, and you can parlay those as well, which you can't do in Las Vegas. So that's an opportunity you should take advantage of.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed. I was messing around with the app the other day. I just picked 4 random prop picks on there, and like Mike said, we're in Vegas, so we can't do it. But if I was anywhere else, I would have hit. I would have won. So
yeah,
so it's like 4-1 on my money or something like that. And I don't know, you do $20, whatever, 4-1 on your money. But
I think it's actually 10-1.
Oh, is it? Oh.
The 4
even
I think
better.
5 out of 5 is 20-1, and then 4 out of 5 is 10.
Yeah, but it was unfortunate for me living in Las Vegas that I couldn't go and put it in there. So yeah. If you're out there and you like doing some player prop picks, AVG.
Yeah, and if you want to do DFS too, they have those for they have a Thanksgiving one actually coming up, and then they have in those games you can do them as well. You can just do the Bears-Lions game and do a draft for that. It's like 4 rounds. It's pretty sweet. Pretty easy, especially if you're in a league and you're kind of out of it. Like say, maybe this week doesn't go that well and you miss the playoffs coming up. Then you have the ability to do that DFS week by week. So join that. Use promo code AVG. All right, let's get into these games, right? Let's get into these matchups, huh?
Let's Chris Brown run it, baby.
Okay.
Or we should change that to let's Jonathan Taylor run it.
So we got the Turkey Day games. We got the starts and sits for the Bears taking on the Detroit Lions Thursday at 9:30 a.m. That's on the West Coast time. What is that, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30 on the East Coast. So we're going to start with our boy Andy Dalton on the Chicago Bears. Actually was not too bad this past week when he came in. What was that, in the middle of the halftime? It's crazy that like Andy Dalton's a saving grace for the Chicago Bears, at least for fantasy. It seems that way.
Yeah, so he comes in after Darnell Mooney gets hurt. This is more of a streaming option here. You got Patrick Mahomes on a bye.
After Justin Fields gets hurt.
Yeah, after Justin Fields gets hurt.
You said Darnell Mooney.
Oh, my bad. Justin Fields gets hurt, my bad.
Darnell Mooney playing quarterback.
Yeah. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes on a bye. If you're in a double quarterback league, or you want to do a daily fantasy, DraftKings, FanDuel, one of those things here. I think Andy Dalton was probably dirt cheap, especially on these Thanksgiving Day games. He'd be a guy I'd probably trying to stream so I can get some better options at the other positional positions. But yeah, I'm not rushing to get Andy Dalton into my lineup here, but I'm not mad at the potential upside he brings in a decent matchup against the Lions.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Going up against the Detroit Lions is definitely a good matchup on Thanksgiving. Get some points early. I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but I'm thinking about playing Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's projected less than Tim Boyle, but guess what, guys? It's not gonna happen. Okay. Andy Dalton should beat out Tim Boyle. So you saying start him?
Double quarterback leagues, DFS, yeah. Depending on like I said, depending on who you got there. I mean, at this point, just name off the top of my head, are you starting in Andy Dalton or like a Ryan Tannehill? Because Tannehill's looked pretty bad with
like a lot of options.
Julio Jones banged up, AJ Brown's a little banged up. Tannehill's throwing to, third, fourth, fifth string options at this point. So would you start Andy Dalton over a guy like Tannehill?
Right, that's the hard part. Is like I'm actually in that situation in a league, so it's like I might actually do that. I might make a move. I might make a move and grab an Andy Dalton-esque person. Yeah. I might grab somebody there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would. I'd be dialing up Andy Dalton over a guy like Tannehill, which is gross to say, but I'm mad at it.
Okay, let's go on to the running back position. David Montgomery, I think you're 100% starting him against the Detroit Lions. What do you think?
He was a guy that we talked about earlier, when he was banged up, on some trade targets to go out and try to acquire. And even though he was banged up, he was the guy we said, hey, go out and get him if you can, buy him on the low because he was hurt. He missed 4 games. But since he returned, 85% of the snaps and 95% of the snaps.
It's crazy.
He's the guy. He hasn't had a crazy good game yet, but those games were at Pittsburgh and then against the Baltimore Ravens, who have a tough defense as well. So this week, in Detroit against the Lions, their run defense is not very good.
It's literally his second worst.
Second worst, yeah.
So and fantasy points against per game, and like a lot of categories.
Yeah.
And yards.
So if you could somehow pull off a trade, I know he did play on Thursday, but if you could somehow pull off a trade and still buy low on him because he hasn't come out and had a crazy good game yet, sign me up all day because the schedule down the stretch is pretty juicy for him. He gets week 16 and week 17. Against Seattle and the Giants. Those are both green-rated matchups. And then this week against the Lions, next week against the Cardinals, those are both green-rated matchups as well. Green-rated obviously meaning good, red meaning bad. So, yeah. Love me some David Montgomery. One of my favorite players in the league just personally.
Yeah, definitely. I was excited the year he came out too.
Yeah.
Didn't show up till – it took a while for him to show up actually. But let's go on to the wide receiver position with Allen Robinson. Now that – you prayed – for Andy Dalton to come back to help Allen Robinson. Are you going to would you double flex Allen Robinson? Would you flex him at this point? Because I know we've been saying just sit him. But at this point with Andy Dalton coming back, are you possibly saying to start him? I'm in a position where I might double flex him. I might throw him in there.
Yeah. So if he plays, I'm going to play Allen Robinson because I do feel more confident with a guy like Andy Dalton at the helm who's a journeyman quarterback to be able to get him the ball. I know Darnell Mooney's been booming, but at the end of the day, Allen Robinson, to me at least, is still the best wide receiver they have on the team. But Allen Robinson missed this last Sunday with a hamstring injury, and he hasn't practiced on Monday or Tuesday, so he's kind of trending in the wrong direction of he might miss this game as well, especially because it's a short week when they play on Thursday before Thanksgiving. So you got to monitor it here. Will he play? Like I said, it's not trending in the right direction, but if he does play, depending on who you have, because I feel like the wide receiver position is the deepest position, obviously, in fantasy football. You can go out and get a guy like, for example, last week I went out and got MBS off the waiver wire. Ends up getting me like a 30 burger. So, there's so many options you could potentially have. But, if he plays with Andy Dalton at quarterback, I do have more confidence in him. As long as the hamstring can hold up and he can stay on the field, I'm not mad at, having Allen Robinson in the lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, if he can play, obviously those not practicing's not looking good. But, there's other guys. Will Fuller It's available in a lot of leagues. Do you think Will Fuller would play this week?
Will Fuller?
Yeah.
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
We'll see. I don't know. It's crazy because he's got like a broken finger, and I mean, I don't know. That guy just can't seem healthy. Even like ACLs, hamstrings, broken finger. It's just like the guy's made of glass. I don't understand. Will Fuller, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But let's keep going with the Chicago Bears. That means Darnell Mooney's our guy this week. This is the start of the week for wide receiver in this game. Because listen, out of all the wide receivers in this Bears-Lions game, who are you going to start? Who do you feel the most confident about starting? Because it seems like Darnell Mooney might be the guy. Because I'm not feeling confident about Khalif Raymond.
No, definitely not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not feeling good about any of these Lions receivers. I'm not feeling good about Allen Robinson, even if he does play it. But Darnell Mooney, it seems like this is the guy where you're like, okay, I'm 100% down to play this guy.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I mean, back-to-back games where he's had 20 or more.
I agree with you, Mike.
I mean, I agree with you. Back-to-back games where he's had 20 points, 16 targets last week, gets you 121 yards plus the long touchdown. I mean, if Allen Robinson doesn't play, he's the guy that this passing attack is going to move through. Obviously, they got Marquise Goodwin there. You got Cole Kmet. We'll touch on in a second. But, who's the guy who's going to see probably 10, 12 targets again? It's probably going to be Darnell Mooney. So, we've kind of seen him have a mini breakout towards the middle end of this season. Just a guy that, I think we both agreed we're pretty hyped on. I know Andre was pretty hyped on him. Coming out of Tulane, I believe it is. But, yeah, dial up Darnell Mooney for sure in this one. I'm definitely trying to get him into my lineup 1,000%.
Yeah. I mean, he was a limited participant in today's practice too, so keep an eye on that. But that was on Tuesday. So if he plays on Wednesday or if he practices on Wednesday, it's looking good. So that helps as well. All right, you ready? Move on to the next one. We got Cole Kmet, the tight end position. How do you feel about this one? Because go Rose.
Yeah, I'm going to be passing on this one right here. Cole Kmet's a nice name to just know going forward. I mean, he's been kind of consistent in terms of the targets. Last week was kind of down, but I mean, prior to that, 8, 6, 6, 5. So I don't know if it's just, you always touch on it, Mike. A rookie quarterback, an inexperienced quarterback. They tend to lean on the tight end position a little bit more. Maybe that's why we haven't seen Justin Fields really, throw outside the numbers or stretch the field with Allen Robinson. Is because he's leaning on guys like Darnell Mooney and the run game and Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
I think one of the hardest things they always say for a quarterback is throwing outside of the numbers or towards the numbers.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing for a NFL quarterback, and obviously Justin Fields not very good at that, at least not at this point in his career. So, yeah, I'm not starting Cole Kmet in this matchup. Would I be surprised if he comes out and have a good game because Andy Dalton is at the helm now? I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not rushing to the waiver wire. I'm not rushing to get Cole Kmet into my lineup, but I do think going forward he's an interesting prospect, for next year potentially. Or if you're in a dynasty league, maybe you go out and you trade for him because I think going forward he could be, he could turn into something, especially because I'm not expecting Jimmy Graham to be there next season.
Yeah. Keep an eye on him. Go on your watch list. Let's go on to the Bears defense. This was actually one of our defensive streams on the waiver wire episode. I like it going up against the Detroit Lions, playing against Tim Boyle. We talked about how Tim Boyle is not good. Look at his college stats; it's very bad. I mean, you'll probably see the graphics and all the memes and dude, it's everywhere now. It's kind of become aware, and even if Jared Goff does become the starter,
not worried about it.
Yeah, I'm still not worried about it. Obviously Tim Boyle is way worse, but yeah, either way, I'm still kind of excited to light up the Bears defense on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks because Khalil Mack, one of the best defensive linemen, edge rushers in the NFL, he's out, he's hurt. So, obviously that kind of downgrades this defense to a certain degree, but they still have some pretty good, defensive linemen, linebackers, and one of the better secondaries in the league, in my opinion, at least the Chicago Bears do. So, yeah, and you said it kind of off air, it's, Thanksgiving. It's known for turkey, and it's known for watching the Lions lose football games. So
the problem is that they're playing the Bears. So it's like it is a division game. It's I think we played this.
Could they sneak out this win? I don't know. If we heard someone reference him earlier as if Tim Susan Boyle is the quarterback, they're definitely not winning this game.
You're right.
If Jared Goff is in the game, maybe they got a chance. Maybe. I mean, the Angels could win the pennant, right? But yeah, I'm not banking on it. I'll just gamble on the fact that Lions offense not very good. I can't remember. Don't quote me on this one, but I think I saw a stat where it's like the Lions haven't scored over 20 points since week 1 or something like that. It's like something insane. So, it's not a high-powered offense that you're afraid to play against. Yeah. Dial me up.
Some Bears defense.
The Chicago Bears.
Let's go to the Detroit Lions. We have Jared Goff here. I don't think you have a Tim Boyle one. I'm glad you didn't make one because you would not get very much use out of it. Let's go. So let's just say Lions quarterback. You're not starting these Lions quarterbacks.
Oh, definitely not. So,
definitely not.
I mean, he's got the oblique strain. Missed last week. Tim Boyle stepped in for him. Did a terrible job. He did what he did. Probably the best thing that he did was just turn around and hand the ball off to DeAndre Swift. So, yeah, Jared Goff, they're saying he's kind of trending in the right direction, and they're optimistic that he will be able to play. It doesn't matter if he plays or not for me. He's not going to be in my fantasy lineup. He looks terrible, and, I don't want to say Goff is a terrible quarterback. Obviously he was the number 1 quarterback selected in the year he came out, but to some degree it has to be more difficult as an NFL quarterback to go from guys like Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and Sean McVay, this offensive mastermind, to now you're playing with the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell and what?
It's rough.
Just a bunch of Jags, as they say, just a bunch of guys.
A bunch of Jagoffs.
As these receivers, they have no receiving weapons whatsoever. Rashard Perryman didn't work out. Tyrell Williams didn't work out. They got the rookie, so it's just tough for him because he doesn't have any real weapons to get it done with. So, if I'm the Lions, they got to make a move, and try to get some type of pass catcher next year going forward because the guys they have now it's not the answer.
Yeah, it's funny how some teams it's like Tyrell Williams. Like I feel like it has showed that he can do some stuff, but it's like certain teams can show you certain things about them. Like, do you know what I mean? Like some players will just look good on like the Patriots makes everybody look good. The Lions makes everybody look bad.
Yeah, unless you're DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I mean, running backs who get opportunity. It's just
every time I see DeAndre Swift run the ball, I just think about how Miami could have drafted him. Side note. They just they're like, hey, let's draft this corner who doesn't even play. Anyways, I digress.
Let's move on to the running back position. We're talking about DeAndre Swift now. Let's talk about him again. DeAndre Swift, you're gonna start him. I think even going up against the Bears, I think you're gonna start DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of these guys where it's set it and forget it. I mean, back-to-back games with over 130 rushing yards. I do believe that I think it's Jamal Williams is hurt, right? Jamal Williams, and I think the other guy, Jamar Jefferson.
I think Jamal Williams he's been cleared. He's actually better now.
Okay. But even then,
Jamar Jefferson is out for the year.
A guy like DeAndre Swift who's a dual-threat running back, I mean, he can get you a ton of catches out of the backfield. And then we've just seen the capability that he has when you give him the ball as many times as you do. I mean, the touchdown he had against the Cleveland Browns, like, they were getting smacked. It was looking like they were going to get goose-egged. And, they gave him the ball. And if you saw the touchdown run DeAndre Swift had against the Cleveland Browns, it just shows you how good that guy really is. I mean, he zigzagged, juked like 2-3 guys, and took it like 30, 40 yards down the field for the touchdown. And you're just thinking like, wow, like it's impressive. Not every running back in the NFL can do what he just did right there. So yeah, love DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. Yeah, and DeAndre Swift did so good this past week that even Jamal Williams being active, he wasn't able to take too many carries from him, so that helps as well. But okay, let's move on to the wide receiver position. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think you're gonna. Can we just say you're gonna sit all these guys?
Yeah, I'm not playing any of these guys. I'm definitely not.
Can I just run through them and be like, okay, we're not
Chris
Brown
running,
this.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're not playing these guys.
Yeah, we're not playing Amon St. Ra or any of those guys.
Any receiver, we're not playing them. So let's move on to T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah, you got to dial up Hercules, I think is what they call him. He has a goose egg a couple weeks ago, but comes back, gets you a nice little game here. It's just if they want to move the football, it's through DeAndre Swift and it's through T.J. Hawkinson. After getting a goose egg and only getting you one target against the Steelers, comes out, gets you 8 targets, 6 catches, 50 yards. So nice little PPR floor right there for a guy like T.J. Hawkinson. Yeah, he's a top 10 tight end.
Yeah,
1,000%. You're starting him.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're starting T.J. Hawkinson every week.
Yeah.
By the way, when we were talking about DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, Jamal Williams 27% snap share, DeAndre Swift 73%.
Yeah.
And beforehand, in the beginning of the season, it was 68-35, 63-39, 56-49. You know what I mean? These varied a little bit differently in the first 7 weeks. They were a little bit closer, but now that the season has gone on and Jamal Williams came back, it's back to DeAndre Swift being the guy. So, T.J. Hawkinson, you're gonna start him. Let's go into the Lions defense. You're gonna do it. I think Andy Dalton is gonna look good this week.
Yeah.
I think the tail end. The way that he performed against the Baltimore Ravens was actually pretty good. Yeah.
Definitely not.
I think I'm not
going
going to play
Lions.
Yeah.
That's going to be a no for me, dog.
So we're going to continue on with our Turkey Day coverage, and we're going to go over the Las Vegas Raiders going out and taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas on Turkey Day. Cowboys, Jerry Jones said, "Hey, Mr. Commissioner, can I touch you so that way we can always play on Thanksgiving when everybody's at home and watching football?" Yeah, sure. Okay. Anyway, so we're going to talk about Derek Carr first. Derek Carr, Sid from Toy Story in football pads, playing quarterback. Are you starting Derek Carr? Derek Carr is kind of sneaky, actually.
Yeah.
I think that you can start him in a decent amount of games. How do you feel going up against this Cowboys defense who just only held the Chiefs to 19 points this past week?
Yeah, so I don't like Derek Carr this week, and I don't know if this has.
I like
to
him
do,
as a mid-tier quarterback, but
yeah. I don't know if this has to do with the Henry Ruggs situation of him, the DUI, him being released from the team, but through the first 7 weeks, he had 5 games of 20 or more points since the Week 8 bye, since the Henry Ruggs situation. 0 games over 20 points in the 3 games that they've had. Like you just said, the Dallas Cowboys just kind of, I don't want to say blanketed the Kansas City Chiefs, but they held the Chiefs to just 19 points in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, I think, had 7, 8 points. Who's the better quarterback here? Who's got a better offense here? It's the Chiefs. It's Patrick Mahomes and those guys. And if the Dallas Cowboys are able to limit them, I think, I said it on the waiver wire episode, I think this is a get-right game for the Dallas Cowboys and this Dallas Cowboys defense. So, yeah, I do not like Sid from Toy Story at all.
I don't know. I feel like the Cowboys losing to the Chiefs is it's not really – they don't have to, get it – It's not so much like a get-right because it's not – they didn't get it wrong losing to the Chiefs. I feel like if in the summertime they look at their schedule and they go, they got the Chiefs. Yeah, they're expecting to lose that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're hoping to get a win. But anyways, yeah, they were able to I feel like Pat Mahomes is just not doing so great. But the Cowboys defense actually looked pretty good. So yeah. I'm with you on that on Derek Carr. So let's move on to the running back position. We got Josh Jacobs. What's going on with these guys? Because I feel like I just can't
Yeah,
I stay away from these guys.
Yeah, I feel bad because Drake was a guy who I thought you could start last week. Didn't pan out too good, but my thought process with that one was, I guess we'll get to Drake when we get to him next. But yeah, I feel bad because of that one. I don't know, Josh Jacobs. The upside's just not through the roof. I don't know. This is one of the reasons why I wasn't too hyped on Josh Jacobs because Drake was going to be there. I mean, you do lose a guy like Ruggs who takes the top off the defense. I know they get Deshaun Jackson, but he's at the tail end of his career. You lose John Gruden, the head coach, halfway through the season or after 5 games or whatever it was. I just don't like it. I mean, I think there was some crazy stat I saw where in games they win, he does good. Josh Jacobs, like he'll put up crazy good games in games they win, but in games they lose, like he gets you under 10 fantasy points. If I'm banking on the Cowboys to win this game, then I'm just gonna go with the numbers say here, and that Josh Jacobs would not have a good game. It's kind of hard to sit a guy like Josh Jacobs depending on who you have, but I mean, I wouldn't be rushing personally to get Josh Jacobs into my lineup. Could he fall into the end zone? 100%. He's had games where he's gotten you like 50 yards and a touchdown, 50 yards and a touchdown, 30 yards and a touchdown. So it's like those touchdowns are his saving grace. But, if you take those touchdowns away, he's just not getting it done on the ground. I mean, only 2 games over 50 yards rushing all season long. It's just gross. It's just gross. So
I think you can flex Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it. And I think the only reason I mean, I'm with you though. It's looking rough. Especially the Dallas Cowboys are on. Yeah, they're pretty much top. They're in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, top 7, top 8 of teams against the running back position on fantasy points per game. On a lot of these stats, they're pretty high up there. Yards, all that's good stuff. They're in the top tier. So, Josh Jacobs, they're splitting these carries, even though Josh Jacobs is getting over the 50% mark, which is like kind of where I look to having these guys start. Josh Jacobs is the one I would rather start, but I'm not excited about it either.
I mean, yeah, the last 2 games, 9 carries, 7 carries. He does get
PPR.
He does get you 5 catches the last 3 weeks, 4, 5, and 5. So he's getting you that. But in terms of like the ground game, it's just gross. And in a game where they could potentially be behind, from what I'm predicting, you're not really going to be able to lean on the ground game as much as they probably would like to. So yeah, I'm not too psyched personally.
Yeah. And that being said, we're going to talk about Kenyan Drake, the same kind of guy. 32% snap count. Are you gonna? I mean, I'm with you here too. I'm gonna kind of fade Drake in this one against the Cowboys.
Yeah, and like I said, the reason why I did like Drake last week, they're playing against the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals had allowed the most receptions to the running back position, and I think they were like bottom 3 in terms of like the most receiving yards allowed to their running back position. Obviously, Josh Jacobs gets you 5 catches there. Drake only gets you 1 for 6 yards. It's just, they're splitting carries here. It's like a 60-40 split, 65-35 split. Josh Jacobs to Kenyan Drake.
You're right.
I mean, I don't like it. It's you're playing like Russian roulette here. Me, I'm more of a, I don't want to say conservative, but I like to have like that safe floor, and that the floor is 3, 4, 5 points for a guy like Kenyan Drake. So yeah, that's going to be a no for me, dog.
Yeah, I'm all right, too. Let's move on to the wide receiver position. We got first off the Bryan Edwards, kind of sneaky guy. I feel like the Bryan Edwards is kind of almost the DFS guy. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely could be a sneaky DFS guy here, but I don't know. It just
for a traditional fantasy, I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he's. To me, Bryan Edwards is one of these guys, and I know it's just his second year, but he's one of these guys where he could be a good football player, but being a good football player and being a good fantasy player are just 2 totally different things. I know it doesn't make sense. Like, hey, this guy's a good football player, so he should hypothetically be a good fantasy player. But, I mean, it just doesn't work out like that sometimes. So, I'm just, it's going to be a no for me, dog.
Can I say this? Last week?
Yeah.
Week 11, right?
Yeah.
What do you think his snap count was?
I have it right here, so do you want me to tell you?
No, okay.
83%.
Yeah. What is his receptions, yards, and targets?
0, 0, and 0.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
If you're not getting any targets on 83, in
a game they were losing. Like they were
That's
losing
crazy.
that whole game against the Bengals. I feel like so they needed to throw the
And
ball.
it's not
and
like
catch
he's
up.
not lined up.
Yeah.
He's there,
Yeah.
and they're not targeting him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm okay on Brian Edwards. So then we'll talk about our favorite guy, Hunter Renfro.
Oh yeah, you know me. I love me some Hunter Renfro here. Had a down game this last week, but I think that was just across the board. But
It's just I think it's the Raiders in general had a hard game.
yeah, for sure. But you're gonna have guys like Trayvon Diggs on the outside. He doesn't move to the slot. I think if the Raiders are going to be able to move the football through the air, obviously you're going to move it through Darren Waller, and it'll be Hunter Renfro, who, prior to last week, 7 catches in 3 straight games. He's basically had 5 or more catches in every single game except for 2, so he's getting you a safe floor in PPR games. 10 or more PPR points in every single game except for 2. I think he bounces back in this week on Turkey Day. Yeah, dial me up some Hunter Renfro here. He's like the perfect flex guy, in my opinion. Just a super safe floor. You know what you're going to get when you go out and you start Hunter Renfro. I keep calling him like a modern-day Julian Edelman, a modern-day Wes Welker. Maybe he doesn't have that high touchdown upside because Derek Carr's not Tom Brady. But in terms of, being targeted and just like that safe floor of a PPR guy, yeah, I love me some Hunter Renfro.
I like it too. Start him. Let's move on to Darren Waller. I think that you're going to start Darren Waller.
For sure, yeah. Do you eat turkey on Thanksgiving?
I do eat turkey on
Then you're starting Darren Waller.
Oh, hell yeah. Do you like the dark or white meat for turkey meat?
I love all turkey.
Of all shapes and all sizes?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I love turkey. It's one of my favorite things.
Is it?
Yeah.
You
What's
like
one of
turkey?
your favorite things for Thanksgiving?
What's your favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving?
Turkey and mashed potatoes. Love me some mashed potatoes.
Okay.
Yeah. And getting drunk.
Let me ask you a question. Do you like stuffing?
I'm not a big stuffing guy.
What?
What, dude?
That's literally the best part of Thanksgiving is stuffing.
Nice.
That's crazy. Okay, but yeah, start Darren Waller. Let's move on to the Las Vegas Raiders defense. I mean, Dak Prescott, it's like every other game, he does really, really, really bad. He did not too great this past weekend, so I'm going to assume he's going to do better this week. What do you think? I think Dak Prescott, I always feel like these defenses, especially for fantasy, is just like quarterback versus defense. And in my eyes, I feel like it's going to be the Raiders might eat up this, or I mean the Dak Prescott might eat up the Raiders defense. Jesus, I can't even say that. You know what I'm trying to say. Dak Prescott's going to tear it up. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not starting the Raiders at all.
Yeah, we're good on the Raiders defense.
Yeah.
Let's go on to Dak Prescott. We're going to stick with the gray banner here. We got Dak Prescott for quarterback. I think you got to start Dak Prescott. If we're saying to sit the Raiders defense, I think you can say you're going to start the Cowboys offense. So the Cowboys offense goes through Dak Prescott, and so I think you got to start him 100%.
Yeah, I think they always give out the Turkey Day, game day legs or whatever. Whoever the player of the game was, they get the turkey legs. I'm thinking it's going to be Dak. That would be my pick this week. I think, like I said, Cowboys, get right game here. At home, it's a short week for the Raiders. Cowboys, sign me up all day. They're at home. I do like Dak Prescott in this one. It's like, and I said it on the waiver wire episode. It's just crazy, fantasy football. You money matchup, maybe not money matchup, but in a game script where the highest over-under of the week last week against the Chiefs, they were trailing most of the game. I know Amari Cooper was out because of COVID. CeeDee Lamb left because of concussion, but it's just like, Dak got you, 1 point, 2 points? So it's just one of those things that happen. Dak has 30-point upside at any given week. So, yeah, definitely not sitting him.
Yeah, 100%. Start Dak Prescott. Let's go to Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, Ezekiel is no one.
He's equal to nobody. I told you this. I was kind of excited because I started Tony Pollard in a pinch last week, and then I was like, Zeke's out. Okay. I wasn't hoping it was a season ending or something like that, but I was just like, oh, this is kind of convenient.
Yeah.
But Zeke, I think you're starting him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's crazy. Just, back in week 1, he got you 6 points, and everyone was panicking, like, Zeke's washed up, Zeke's done, yada, yada. And it's like the first week against the defending Super Bowl champs who have the best run defense, or one of the best run defenses in the league, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do. But, after that, 10 or more points every single week. I mean, is he Christian McCaffrey? Is he, these top-tier guys? Is he Austin Eckler? Is he Jonathan Taylor right now? No. But is Zeke still a top 10 running back in the league? 1,000%. So,
yeah,
definitely like Ezekiel Elliott this week. Expect him to
eat
it up on Turkey Day, baby.
Gross. Let's go on to Tony Pollard. What do you do with Tony Pollard? Would you start him?
I would not.
I'm okay, yeah.
So I have Zeke I'm in 6 leagues. I have Zeke in 5 leagues, and I've just made it an emphasis. I think I said it.
I would not.
Past 2. Go out and get your handcuffs. I think it's handcuff season. I'm not trying to get cute anymore and stash these guys like AP. I'm not trying to stash these guys like Tevin Coleman. I don't know. I know Michael Carter got hurt, but it's like go out and give him my handcuffs, because if something happens to Zeke, like you said, he got banged up, had to leave the game, I want to have his backup. If Darrell Henderson gets banged up, I want to have Sony Michel. If Dalvin Cook gets banged up, I want to have Alexander Madison. So I'm not hyped to get Tony Pollard into my lineup, but he's definitely a guy that needs to be rostered in 100% of leagues, because if anything happened to Zeke, he would be a top 5 running back probably with the workload. He would see him one of the better offenses in the NFL. And then if I do have Zeke, I definitely want to make an emphasis to get him on my team, even if I have to make a trade somehow to potentially get him. We're in a dynasty league, and I had Zeke, and I had to pull a trade to go get Pollard, because I'm just like, hey, going forward, I just want to make sure I have my handcuff for Zeke in this Dallas Cowboys offense.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. Grab Tony Pollard if you have him. I think you would sit him even in the flex position. I would probably sit Tony Pollard unless you're in like a real bad spot.
Yeah.
But okay. Let's move on to the wide receiver position. We got Amari Cooper, who should be out this week. So, you're going to sit him, obviously?
Yeah, so he's out. I think I was looking at the report. So, he tested for COVID, I think it was like Thursday or Friday or something like that. So, he's unvaccinated, which means that he has to automatically sit out for 10 days. So, he'll miss this game as well. So, it's unfortunate for the Cowboys offense, and it's unfortunate for the Amari Cooper owners as well. But he should be back next week. They do play next Thursday as well in the Thursday night game after Thanksgiving. So he should be good to go and be back for them. Only positive thing here is that he's kind of been battling a hamstring injury. So this extra time to rest should give him the ability to come back and be close to, if not 100%, going forward to finish out the season strong. So, yeah, it's just unfortunate that Amari Cooper won't be playing on Turkey Day.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, let's go on to next one here. We got CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is looking questionable for the Week 12 return. Do you think he will play? And if he does, what are we doing? We starting him or we sitting him? What are we doing?
I mean, if CeeDee Lamb's, because he got the concussion, if you saw the play, it was like Dak underthrew him, so CeeDee Lamb was trying to make a play on the ball and kind of like, basically break up an interception from the defender. When they fell, he like whiplashed back and hit the back of his head on the turf or the ground. So he's got the concussion. He's in the concussion protocol. Didn't practice Monday. Didn't practice Tuesday either. But they're saying that they are optimistic that by tomorrow, which would be Wednesday, or I guess today if you're watching this on Wednesday, that he'll be good to go and be able to get past the concussion protocol because he's making good progress through that protocol. I mean, and if CeeDee Lamb is healthy enough and he gets through the concussion protocol, I mean, he's in your lineup. It's 1,000%.
Yeah.
So this one is just one of those things you've got to monitor and just keep an eye on it. It could come down to potentially a game time decision. So just keep an eye on it. But if he's on the field, he's in your lineup.
Yeah, definitely. CeeDee Lamb, start him. We got our boy Michael Gallup And this is the thing is if CeeDee Lamb is out, I mean, I'm 100% going to go ahead and start Michael Gallup. Because then you got Cedric Wilson, you got Noah Brown.
That guy's terrible.
Yeah,
He's terrible.
Yeah, that's like it's like, what are you doing here? Yeah, at that point, it's gonna end up becoming they can't just throw it to the running back. They can't throw it to Dalton Schultz every time. You're gonna get into a situation where Michael Gallup is gonna be the guy. That's if CeeDee Lamb does not play. Especially. Even if he does, I think it's not a bad flex play.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, 10 targets last week, played 94% of the snaps.
10 targets is amazing.
That's a lot. Even if CeeDee Lamb plays, I'm still playing Michael Gallup. I think he finishes this week as a top 30 wide receiver, so he'd be a nice flex option for you this week. Let's say if you have Tyreek Hill on a bye, you're looking for somebody. He's probably widely available on the waiver wire. I think we talked about him on the waiver wire episode. Potentially go out and get Michael Gallup and throw him into your lineup because I think he does see probably another 8, 9, 10 targets in this matchup as well. Like Michael Gallup this week.
I like it. Let's move on to Cedric Wilson. Are you playing Cedric Wilson? This one's I'm okay on. I'm not going to.
I'm not hyped. Maybe this is more of like a DFS or, you're doing one of the those Thanksgiving Day daily fantasy lineups here. But I mean, does he have the potential to boom? I mean, any receiver does have the potential to boom, but I'm just gonna go on the side that he hasn't. He hasn't been able to boom, and maybe I'm just being optimistic because I got CeeDee Lamb in a lot of leagues, but I'm hoping CeeDee Lamb can play, and if he does play, then I'm expecting a lot of Michael Gallup. I'm expecting a lot of CeeDee Lamb, and I'm not expecting too much of Cedric Wilson.
Listen, you're all in on the Cowboys. I'm all in on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. And I'm not all in on Cedric Wilson.
But you're all in on when you were talking about CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
But that leaves me with the biggest question is our boy Dalton Schultz. I've never been a big Dalton Schultz guy. I don't know I don't think you are either. But how do you feel in this matchup? I mean, if CeeDee Lamb and you got Amari Cooper out, then what? I mean, at that point, would you be down to play Dalton Schultz?
Yeah, I mean, Amari Cooper definitely out. CeeDee Lamb, like we said, to me, it's like a 50-50 if he'll play or not. I mean, either way, whether CeeDee Lamb plays or not, obviously, I think if CeeDee Lamb plays, I think it actually helps Dalton Schultz because it opens the field up for him. CeeDee Lamb's the guy you have to account for, possibly even double team for the opposing defense. So, but I mean, Dalton Schultz last week, 8 targets, 6 catches, 53 yards. I do like him this week in a nice matchup against the Raiders. The Raiders have actually given up the 3rd most receptions to the tight end position. So yeah, I'm expecting Dak to lean on Dalton Schultz and him to see another, 7, 8 targets, probably get, for a large chunk of the season. I mean, he's got 5 games with 6 catches or more. So, I mean, that's, those are games with Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. So, I mean, if no Amari Cooper, potentially no CeeDee Lamb, does he see another 6 receptions in this game against a team that gives up the 3rd most receptions to the tight end position? I mean, I like it. All the numbers are trending in the right direction for him to be a solid play this week on Turkey Day.
Tied at 4th most fantasy points per game to the tight end position as well.
Nice.
And it's just Dalton Schultz. So, 10.5 points going to the tight end position on average against the Raiders. I like it. Dalton Schultz, I think you throw him in your lineup. Let's go on to the Dallas Cowboys defense. You going to start them this week if you have them? I think it's not a bad start.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad at it at all. I mean, when you're playing against Sid from Toy Story, I was just talking about how I'm not too hyped on him. I mean, I'm not too hyped on the running backs, Drake and Jacobs. Obviously,
all in on the Cowboys.
Obviously, Darren Waller and Hunter Renfro should get theirs to some degree at least. But, for what it's worth, the Cowboys, outside of that Broncos game where they gave 30 points to the Broncos at home, since their Week 7 bye, they haven't allowed a team to score over 20 points in 3 of the 4 games. Yeah, I like the Cowboys. Like I said, I think this is a get-right game for Dallas.
Cowboys have a defense?
Yeah.
Say what?
It's crazy last year because they were like one of the most historically worst defenses, right? It was last year, right?
Yeah, I remember what you were talking about.
They were just giving up like 40, 50 points a game.
Yeah.
So.
And in the beginning of the season, we were like, "Yep, same old Cowboys."
Yeah.
Yeah. But then Trayvon Diggs started catching. You know what it is? I feel like Trayvon Diggs got like a couple of interceptions, and then like everybody was writing articles about how the Cowboys have a defense, and then the defensive coordinator's like, "Oh shit, I should actually probably like try it more." And I'm like,
yeah,
maybe, I don't know. But let's move on to the next matchup. Are you ready?
Let's run it, Chris Brown.
Let's run it, Chris Brown. We got the Bills taking on the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. Is that correct? Yes. I'm going to say yes. In New Orleans, we got our boy Josh Allen at quarterback. I think you're going to start him 100%.
Yeah, you're starting Josh Allen. I know he had a down game last week, but I feel like he's, at this point in his career, one of the top-tier quarterbacks in the league, and it's really hard for these top-tier quarterbacks to have like back-to-back games where they kind of have a dud game. In New Orleans against the Saints, it is a tough matchup, but yeah, I'm not really too worried about it here because I think Josh Allen, can get it done not only through the air but on the ground with his legs as well. So
yeah,
starting Josh Allen.
You got the rushing upside. You're good. Let's go on to Zach Moss, the running back. Okay, we can talk about both of these guys. I think.
Yeah,
we'll talk about Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. Who are you starting out of these guys? Because I'm grossed out by both of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have a gun?
Yeah, you can shoot me.
Gun to my head. Who do I start? Is Devin Singletary or Zach Moss? Pull the trigger because I'm not playing either one.
Because it's bad.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, the Saints, I believe it was, they gave up like 3.6 yards per carry. It's the lowest in the NFL. So, yeah, it's very hard to run on the New Orleans Saints.
They're literally the number one. They're literally the number one defense against tight end or against running backs.
Yeah, and a team where the Bills, where they like to run, they like to throw the ball so much. In the beginning of the year, it was like throw, run, throw, run. So it's a team that doesn't like to run the ball against a team that is one of the best rushing defenses in the NFL. And then they also have a guy named Josh Allen who can snake you the goal line touchdowns and get some yards on the ground himself. Yeah, I'm not sold on the upside that Zach Moss or Devin Singletary offer in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm not starting either one of those guys. But let's go on to the wide receiver position. We'll start with Cole Beasley. PPR leagues, are you starting Cole Beasley now that they're a passing team? I think they're gonna have to throw the ball a lot, like you're saying. So in that regard, I think that Cole Beasley might have an uptick in targets if he's out there. What are your thoughts?
The Beasles here. It just when he gets the targets, he has good games. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games where he's had 9 or more targets.
We go on the mic.
In all of those games, he's been, at least PPR wise, he's been highly efficient. He's a Hunter Renfro-esque type of player. Where his value is based in PPR leagues, but then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games where he's had 5 or less targets, and in all 5 of those games held to under 10 PPR points. So it's just, is he going to get the targets or is he not? And that's, one of those things where, it's literally 50-50. If he gets 9 or more targets, he's going to perform. If he gets 5 or less, he's not.
Yeah, he just needs the volume.
It just depends on who you got. It's one of those shot in the darks for me here. I'm not hyped to get Cole Beasley in my league because it's Mikey, as you always say, it's the inconsistency for me.
Yeah.
And just being really inconsistent. Like I said, it's literally 50-50. Half the games he's been pretty good. The other half it's just been not very good.
Right.
So yeah, I think I'd be sitting him this week.
Yeah.
Now watch him come out and have like 10 catches, 120 yards.
I will say this, that the game script, the fact that the Bills probably are going to have to pass the ball in order to beat the New Orleans Saints, I think that he has the higher chance of getting the target. So I would say in DFS leagues, maybe he's a better start. But yeah, I wouldn't bank on it. If you're in a pinch, go ahead and flex him. But I'm not going to say start him 100%. Yeah, he's not going to get that approval from me this week in Week 12 against the Saints. Let's move on to Emmanuel Sanders. All right, this is where it gets tricky with these other two receivers. Well, not too tricky with the other one, but Emmanuel Sanders, it gets a little bit trickier. How do you feel about Emmanuel Sanders in this matchup? Because I think it's not too bad.
Yeah, so Man Crush Manny Sanders came out, had some crazy good games in the beginning of the season. Sorry, I'm not talking to the mic too much. But the last couple weeks since the Week 7 bye, I mean, the targets have been all over the place, 4, 8, 2, and 5. Prior to that, he was seeing 6 plus targets pretty much every single game. Pretty solid, consistent across the board. He was getting you basically 50-plus yards every single game. He's only had one game over 50 receiving yards in the last 4 weeks, so not trending in the right direction. I mean, we've seen it. It's kind of like the Cole Beasley thing. We've seen it where he's been the guy where he's come out and had a good game. It just depends on who you got here. I'm not rushing to put Manny Sanders into my lineup, but depending on who you got, like I said, you got Tyreek Hill on a bye. Are they the only team on a bye?
I will tell you. But yeah, Emmanuel Sanders is definitely a little bit uptick just because his average depth of target is a little bit higher than Cole Beasley, so he's getting the yards with the receptions versus Cole Beasley kind of catches a lot of stuff underneath. So I like Emmanuel Sanders a little bit more, but that's about it.
Yeah. So, I'm not – like I said, it just depends on who you got. I mean, I'm starting to –
You got the Cardinals on bye as well.
Okay. So, I mean, maybe you got Kirk. You got D-Hop, who's been banged up. He hasn't really played, but, I don't know. I'm playing Hunter Renfro over him. I'm playing Darnell Mooney over him. Just some of these, Thanksgiving guys. I'm playing Michael Gallup over Manny Sanders. So, it just depends on who you're getting to or who your other options
are. Chase Claypool?
I'm playing Chase Claypool over Manny Sanders.
How about okay, Mike Williams?
Playing Mike Williams over Manny Sanders for sure.
I'm trying to think of yeah, okay, yeah. And obviously, we got Stephon Diggs, but you don't have to put him in here.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs is an automatic set it and forget it.
Dawson Knox, now that he's coming back, how do you feel about the boy? He's probably got one of the coolest names in the NFL.
Yeah, Dawson Knox.
I think it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of having a mini breakout campaign before he got hurt. I mean, I'm not mad at it as a potential, back end.
6 receptions for 80 yards last week. That's not too bad. 10 targets for a tight end position.
Yeah.
I like that. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it seems like Josh Allen trusts him and is leaning on him as the third-year breakout tight end here. So, yeah, I mean, and then when they get in close, they like him. Through the first 6 weeks, he had 5 touchdowns. So when they get in close, it's kind of like the Hunter Henry effect where, they're looking for Dawson Knox when they get into the red zone.
Right. And if Cole Beasley ends up, he's questionable, but I think he should play. But if Cole Beasley's not in, Dawson Knox, maybe a little bit extra. But 10 targets is pretty good for a tight end position.
Yeah, definitely.
Knoxinately. Are you feeling Billful? And are you feeling the Bills' defense this week?
So the Bills' defense has been one of the better defenses in the NFL so far this season, but
which is weird.
But they just got gashed on the ground from Jonathan Taylor.
Gashed.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid of Trevor Simeon. I'm not afraid of all these other options. So I do think the Bills are potentially a good option here because
I think it's a good defense.
We still don't know what's going on with Alvin Kamara. Trevor Simeon's the quarterback. I'm not scared of Marquez Callaway, Traquan Smith, all these other guys. I'm not scared of them. Adam Trotman had a good game last week, but he's hurt. So, I mean, yeah, outside of the rushing attack of Mark Ingram potentially, this might be the whole entire Saints offense. So, yeah, I'm not mad at the Bills as a potential streaming option.
Yeah, me too. Well, let's move on to the Turkey Day Trevor Simeons for the New Orleans Saints. I think I'm okay on starting Trevor Simeon. How about you? He ended up doing actually, I think, pretty good last week, but for fantasy.
Yeah.
But I can't trust that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a no for me, dog.
What did he have last week? I think he had pretty decent. Yeah, 24 points last week.
Nice. I think he had a rushing touchdown, so that
That's
kind of.
what he had 3 touchdowns. 2 carries for 16 yards and a touchdown. That's why. But yeah, I'm not bigging on that every week. So Trevor Simeon, I'm good against the Bills defense. If anything, when I see Trevor Simeon's name, it makes me excited for the Bills defense.
Yeah.
Let's go on the running back position. We got Alvin Kamara. Are we getting Alvin Kamara to start this week? What's the deal?
I mean, he's been missing practice. Still missed Monday. Still missed Tuesday with I believe it's an MCL sprain to the knee. It's a short week here, so I mean, does he play? Who knows? The Wednesday will probably be a lot more telling, but I'm gonna bang on the caution of.
I'm gonna say he's not.
Not gonna play.
Yeah,
I would say he's not gonna play. He's gonna miss his 3rd straight week, and then this just gives him extra time to come back next Sunday after missing 3 games. So.
The hard part is this is a big game for the Saints. They're 5-5, playing against the 6-4 Bills. This is actually like a decently big game for the Saints. I think the Bucs took the lead or whatnot. But yeah, I think they're. I don't think they're gonna rush Alvin Kamara out there though. I think they know what they have in Mark Ingram and they're gonna run him. So
if Kamara does play, are you playing him?
I think, yeah.
For sure.
You gotta
1,000%. I mean, if Kamara's healthy enough to step foot on the football field, he's healthy enough to be in my fantasy lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Bills have been pretty stout against running back position for the most part. But I'm still – it's Alvin Kamara. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So – but that being said, let's move on to our boy Mark Ingram. If Alvin Kamara's not in, I think you still can flex Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram is not your running back 1. He's not your running back 2. You didn't draft him at that. You picked this guy up for the most part.
Yeah.
So I think if anything, you're gonna flex Mark Ingram. I don't know how you feel. I'm not too excited against the Bills defense. I don't think the game script makes sense. I think that they're going to pass the ball more. But just because I think they're going to be playing from behind. But I think it's a decent flex play in that regard.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, Mark Ingram in the last 2 games that Kamara's been out, he had 18 total touches and 22 total touches. Gets you over 100 scrimmage yards in both those games. And he's averaging 5 catches in the last 3 games as well. So, I mean, even if, like you said, the game script's not good to where they can't really rely on the run too much, he is a capable pass catcher out of the backfield. And, I'm just going to go off the trend of him getting another 5 catches out of the backfield, which gives him a safe floor in PPR. And then just like the total scrimmage yards that he's been getting through the ground and through the air as well. Yeah, I like Mark Ingram this week. I think he's an RB2. Like you're saying, you're not starting him as an RB2 because obviously you probably have other options. But, if you have to start him as your RB2, I'm very confident in what he's been able to do in the absence of Alvin Kamara.
By the way, if Mark Ingram's actually questionable too. So if Mark Ingram's out, you going to swing in and grab Tony Jones and start him?
I mean, if he's the last man standing, then yeah, I'm not mad at it because – I mean, he'd probably see like 20-plus touches.
Because it's just him and Dwayne Washington.
Yeah, he'd probably see like 20-plus touches.
Yeah. But, okay, let's go on to the wide receiver position. We got our boy Marquez Callaway. Remember the preseason? Everybody was like, this is the guy. He's going to be so good. Do you remember all that?
Yeah. I mean, he had that crazy game in preseason, 2 touchdowns, and everyone was like, oh, this is it, Marquez Galloway. And
where is he now?
Yeah, where is he now? I don't like it. I mean, it's just, you got.
If he didn't fall into the end zone, he only had 26 yards on 1 reception last week on 4 targets. Listen to these targets the past since week 8. 5, 6, 4, and 4.
Yeah, that's gross. I mean, since week 6, their bye, off the top of my head, I can't remember when Jameis Winston got hurt, but since their week 6 bye, he hasn't had over 40 yards receiving in 5 straight games. So there's just no upside here. And in a tough matchup against a pretty good Bills defense.
The only way Marquez Callaway will end up with anything is if the Saints are in the game script where they're falling from behind and they have to play, throw the ball a lot. And so that's the only – I think that's the only time where you can see Marquez Callaway being relevant, to be honest, for fantasy at least. But that being said, let's move on to – oh, wow, I don't have this. This got messed up. But, yeah, continue. What are we talking about? What's our next guy?
Just think it's like Traquan, maybe.
Traquan,
yeah.
okay.
I'm not starting either one of these guys, Marquez Callaway or Traquan. We don't have to spend too much time on it as we're getting close to an hour on the podcast here. But yeah, I'm not hyped to start any of these guys. I think personally, it's Mark Ingram. If Alvin Kamara plays, it's Alvin Kamara. And then it's Mark Ingram, and that's it. I'm not hyped to play any of these other skill positional players here as well. And then you have Adam Trotman, who might have been a good option, but he hurt his knee, and I think he's out for 4 to 6 weeks as well. So I'm not playing Juwan James or Juwan Johnson or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I think I'm good on that too. Saints defense.
I mean, if there's no other options available, I mean, if it's like the worst of the worst dumpster dive on the waiver wire, then maybe you have to throw him in there.
The hard part is,
but I'm not hyped to play them against Josh Allen in this Bills offense.
That's the thing is like the Saints defense. I don't think is bad, but the matchup is like the matchup just doesn't make you feel good. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna pass on the Saints defense if I can look elsewhere.
Yeah.
But that being said, that's all we got for the Thanksgiving Turkey Day episode. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Gobble gobble, motherfuckers.
Gobble gobble. Yeah, appreciate everybody checking out the channel. Also, I feel like I had an announcement to make. Oh, Tyler came out of the closet finally. I'm just kidding. But thanks for listening. This has been the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast.
I told you that in confidence. Just kidding.
In confidence? Is that a term?
I want to be in confidence, if you know what I mean. Oh, dude, this is a PG-13 rated podcast.
It's on the internet. We live on the internet. Yeah, but thank you. Can I speak to you in confidence? That's a term. That's a thing. That's
yeah,
a
I said that to you in confidence. Like.
Why does that seem like not a? I don't know. Anyways, but thanks for listening. If you haven't already, leave a rating and review on the Apple Podcast app. It helps us out. So for all you audio listeners out there, go ahead and do that. And then if you haven't already, go check out the Underdog Fantasy app. Just download it. Get a feel for it. You can just sign up. You don't have to deposit money right away. Get a feel for like what the bets you can make in. And you know what? I do a little bit of parlays and I check out like, okay, if I did this, how much would the payout be? Oh, and if I bet this, or if I put in this much money, how much would my payout be? So I do that a lot. So just go check it out. And then if you want to deposit, use the promo code AVG, and then you get a $100 match on your first deposit. And it helps out. It supports the show. Subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already.
Subscribe.
Like the video, all that good stuff. Appreciate you guys. And us big boys
are out.
Okay, we're out.
This has been the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. Please leave a rating and review. Thank you.